All right, so hey, welcome everybody to the latest episode of the Raise Your Bars podcast. And today we are moving on to lesson 2 of our mindset series that we started last week. So I'm Chris Baker and Al Rattan is with me. Al, how are you doing?
Fantastic, Chris. It's so good to see you, my friend. It's been a good, productive day so far. So I'm going to pat myself on the back right here and say it's
Good.
been a good day. And now we get to record our podcast and this lesson for our Facebook group and our podcast platforms and YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Yeah, perfect. So I tell you, let's move on with it. Before we do, again, just remember if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, give us a thumbs up and a like, and maybe share this with other people that you think would be interested in learning more about mindset and how that um, impacts our lives. The more people that subscribe, the more people that like, the more people that share, the more opportunities YouTube gives us to get these messages out there. So
Yeah.
we appreciate on that. So let's look at our learning objective for today. It's really to determine how your fixed or growth mindset was formed. So now that you've figured out your dominant mindset, and you again with the homework from lesson 1, you should have been doing this. So what is your dominant mindset? Is it growth or is it fixed? So now that you've figured that out, it's time to learn more about how it was formed. The purpose of this lesson isn't to dig up the past or to assign blame, far from it. Instead, by discovering where these beliefs came from, you can uncover negative patterns and replace them intentionally with positive ones. Now, if you came out of childhood with a growth mindset intact, then you'll learn how to augment the positives and eliminate any negatives.
Yeah, exactly, Chris. Our fixed or growth mindset was created at an early age. We were influenced by our parents, our teachers, the education system, TV or internet, depending on your age, our
Mhm.
friends, early childhood experiences. Children absorb what they hear, even or especially when adults don't think they're listening.
True.
Researcher Carol Dweck observed that almost everybody is born with a passion for learning or a growth mindset. It's what allows toddlers to learn how to walk and talk. And, they fall multiple times, but they literally get up and keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't read Carol Dweck's book Mindset, I definitely recommend that. I've literally just finished it, and there's a ton of things that I've learned from there and actually putting in place in other trainings. So, when does a fixed mindset typically make an appearance? Well, as Alstead said, it starts to form when children see that to gain love, attention, and praise, they need to perform well. Their focus switches from growth and learning for its own sake to the attainment of approval, achievement, and success. Now, the education system has played a major role in this, although things are hopefully changing. Most likely, when you went to school, talent was praised and failure was strongly discouraged and possibly even shamed. Now, this affects how kids view themselves.
Yeah, for example, if you were praised for your effort and tenacity in something you enjoyed but didn't stand out in, maybe sports or music, but singled out for your giftedness or natural talent in something you performed well, maybe art, math, etc., you may have started to measure your self worth based on your performance, dropping things you enjoyed to focus on things that you excelled in. And
Mm,
likewise, if you were belittled or overlooked for your performance in other topics, you would have started to form opinions about yourself and might have even engaged in negative self talk. It's at this stage that a fixed mindset might take hold in multiple aspects of your life, extending to new challenges, topics, or tasks. Being a beginner becomes unbearable. So your tolerance for failure becomes non existent.
mm, so true. Now, a fixed mindset is strongly tied to fear. When faced with a new project, job, relationship, or situation, fear will kick in when you've got a fixed mindset. It's a fear of failure, avoidance of challenges, reluctance to leave our comfort zone. They're all associated with a fixed mindset. And people with that fixed mindset are afraid of getting it wrong or looking stupid or being laughed at or experiencing disapproval or disappointment from other people. This fear is what causes them to give up more easily, to reject feedback, and ultimately avoid situations where failure is a possibility. And most of the time, it's not other people who judge them, disapprove them, or make them feel bad about themselves. That voice comes from within,
We could honestly say we've all experienced that voice in
for
the
sure.
past at some point in time, right? Now,
Yeah.
a fixed mindset is powered by negative self talk, that inner voice that tells you to stop trying, you're not good enough, everybody will laugh at your efforts, you should stick with what you know. Try the no negative self talk challenge and identify when your fixed mindset kicks in. Every time you notice a negative thought, switch it and turn it to a positive.
So, how do we do that? Well, first of all, you got to show yourself some compassion. If jumping right into a positive statement feels a little inauthentic, start out by simply being kind and compassionate to yourself. For example, if you're a chronic procrastinator and you find yourself saying, I'm lazy, I'm disorganized, I'm totally unequipped to run my own business, start with something like, I forgive myself for procrastinating. Or, I have many talents as an entrepreneur. With hard work, effort, and outside help, I can solve this. Stop putting yourself down and be kind.
Yeah, that's so good. You can ask yourself some questions. When you start to hear your inner critic coming for you, turn its negativity into a question. Am I lazy, or is there another reason why I'm avoiding this project? When in the past have I jumped in and started a task right away? And how was that different? What can I learn from that experience? This line of questioning encourages you to get in problem solving mode instead of that constant beating yourself up for not performing how you think you should perform.
Yeah. And I think both of those two, before we move on to three, both of those two, I would say, how would you coach or talk to somebody else if they were experiencing those same things?
Yeah, that's a great
Because if
question.
you wouldn't tell them that they're a loser, that they're no good at this, that they're that, then don't tell yourself that. All right.
Exactly.
So remember that.
Exactly.
Now,
That's so
the
good.
next part, focus on progress. Don't challenge your negative self talk with statements you can't truly buy into just yet. I'm energetic, excited, and eager to complete this task. Instead, focus on the process and on your progress. Things could be like, I can work on this project for 15 minutes and see how it goes. Or I am a work in progress. Honestly, that's true of all of us. So we all should be saying that. You could also say something along the lines of, I'm making an effort to be proactive and focused.
Yes.
Now Carol Dweck's work was initially almost exclusively used in the context of the classroom. She encouraged teachers to reinforce to students that mistakes make my brain grow. Let me just say that again.
Yeah.
Mistakes make my brain grow.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
so
only way
good.
we learn. Now,
That's
this
right.
reminder is valuable for people of all ages. Next time you hear your inner critic cut its voice short with the affirmation, mistakes make my brain grow.
That's really good. The next is visualization and mindfulness. Picture your negative thoughts on a screen and swipe them away. Just like you would delete that email, delete that text message, swipe it away, or being carried away with a moving river, or tied to a
Yeah.
balloon and floating up into the universe.
Yeah, I think that the key there, Al, is basically sort of welcoming it almost, right? Accepting it, but then releasing it, right? Don't
Absolutely.
hang on to it. Don't let it take over you. You take control of that.
Because really, when we hang on to it, Chris, that's when it's most negatively impacting us. We need
Exactly.
to learn to let these things go.
We do. We do.
Yes.
And this is why we, are really saying and encouraging to adopt this growth mindset. So let's move on to a growth mindset. And those with a growth mindset most likely had teachers or parents who encouraged improvement and learning instead of praising talent and discouraging failure. Now, a growth mindset is formed when you're taught that it's okay to make mistakes. That this process allows you to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, Chris, I want to repeat that one line. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah,
That's so good because so again, when you make a mistake, people tend to beat themselves up. It's okay. Learn from it, move forward. Learn from
yeah.
it, move forward.
I would add to that, Al, as well, and I think we've shared it before on the podcast and in teaching, but I would often and still do, like tell my teams, the teams that I work with, and the students in the classes that I teach, that I actually want you to fail, right? I want you to make mistakes, because if you don't, you're not pushing yourself and you're not growing enough. You're like drifting through. Right? And
Exactly.
that's a different mindset. That is the growth mindset rather than the fixed mindset. Or, some people like talk about a goal mindset. A goal mindset can be a fixed mindset if there isn't a grand vision behind it.
That's so good. So, if you predominantly have a growth mindset, you are probably encouraged to persevere, try out new ideas, and solve problems on your own.
Now, have you heard the saying, effort and hard work are all it takes? In general, a growth mindset is positive, but it can sometimes be misinterpreted and misused. It warps into something unrecognizable and contrary to a growth mindset. A growth mindset isn't simply positive thinking plus hard work equals success.
That's right. If people engage in positive thinking and unproductive effort, that's not useful. An important part of growth mindset is evaluating progress, getting help from others, testing out new tactics and strategies, and learning from setbacks. Take action. On the other hand, don't push through in the name of a growth mindset. That is also contrary to what it's all about. Instead, acknowledge that something isn't working and adjust either the tactic or the goal itself.
Yeah. So, what are the action steps and key takeaways? Well, the key takeaways, first of all, is a fixed or growth mindset is created at an early age. It's influenced by parents, teachers, the education system, TV, internet, etc. It's also true that we all started out with a growth mindset. And let's look at that again for a moment. If you think about that, when you were a child and you were learning to walk, if you had a fixed mindset, the first time you fell over, you would say, "This is not working. I can never do this." And you would still be crawling around today. But we don't do that, right? The children have got a growth mindset. And guess what? It's like, hey, let me learn from this and I'll keep trying.
Yeah, so good.
And the last takeaway is that a fixed mindset is powered by fear and negative self talk.
Yeah, that's
So,
so
what's the
good.
action steps now?
Action steps. Well, first of all, and we should have mentioned this at the beginning, if you go to our Raise Your Bars Personal Growth Solutions Facebook group, you can download the worksheets for this lesson. So do that now. And
Mm,
here's some action steps for you. Reflect on your upbringing and education and answer the following questions. Write your answers down in that worksheet we've provided. What kind of feedback or praise did you receive from parents or teachers? Were you rewarded for hard work and effort and for your natural talents? Has this impacted your current beliefs about your skills, talents, or intelligence? And what do you most want to change about your mindset?
Before we move on to the second action step, I just wanted to add to this as well and say, yeah, you can ask this about your own upbringing. But what I would encourage you to do this as well is, if you've got children now, or if you're a leader and you've got employees, how do you do this with them? All right. What sort of feedback and praise do you give them? How do you reward them for hard work and effort? Or do you reward them for the natural talents? So look at this in that respect as well.
That's
So the
good.
second action step is, in situations where you express a fixed mindset, and honestly, we all do. How does fear play a role? What are you afraid of? The third action step, and again, it says, do you engage in negative self talk? The answer is yes, because again, we all do. It could be about something minor, it could be about something major, but
Absolutely.
let's look at it. And what is your inner critic saying? All right. So, what are you saying to yourself? When do you notice it? And what triggers it? And then the last part on here is, choose one statement from your inner critic and choose one or two strategies from this lesson to combat its voice. For example, self compassion statements or visualization.
So good. So good. So,
Yeah.
hey, everybody, we just want to, again, thank you for tuning in. We hope you got some value from this. And Chris and I are going to continue on this series over the next number of weeks as we talk about
Mm.
mindset mastery. So, again, like our YouTube channel, share this with friends, family, or coworkers you may find value in it. And if you are a business leader, and you have a team of leaders or you have a sales team, Chris and I have the Bars Academy is now up and running, and you can go to barsacademy.com, and there's a full year long on demand sales training program there and a full year on demand leadership development program, and it's one low price for your entire team no matter of the size. So again,
Yeah.
thanks for tuning in. Hope you have an amazing day. Take care and bye for now.